It's one of our favourite racetracks. You're watching RaceKraft V8 Vets live on SimSpeed TV as we head to Sandown International Motor Raceway. Sandown, Dandenong 250, often described as two long straights connected by some corners at either end. It's incredibly historic, and everywhere you read, people want 500 kilometres here. David Haynes with you here on SimSpeed TV with Daniel Yeaman, and man, it's the home of horsepower, and we're going to see plenty of it from V8 Vets tonight.
We sure are, David, although tonight things are a little more treacherous. We can talk about that in a moment for the drivers, but they'll, I think, get their chance to put the power down. Just the first little bit might be a bit more with caution. And in fact, those who are pushing the limits are finding their way into the fence at this very moment. We'll get to that in due course, though.
It's in Springvale, Victoria. When my parents were first married in the 1980s, they bought an apartment in Springvale for under $100,000. Good luck doing that now. That's why this real estate is actually very, very well desired. How much longer does Sandown last? Every 2 years, it seems to get a 2-year extension, and we just never know, but we appreciate it while we've got it. And we think we'll have it on iRacing for a long, long time. It's a long front straight down towards a treacherous turn 1. Things get very street circuit vibes between turns 2, 3, and 4, and exactly how much curb do you eat there is always a question. But your traction out of the slow turn 4 is so important. Up and along the back straight, climbing up towards Dandenong Road there, you feed in at such high speed in towards turn 6. And it is a tricky braking zone, trying to manage the curbs and the steering while also trying to arrest the speed before turn 9. And then 11 and 12, a switchback chicane sometimes tempts people to dive down the inside, but you can often hold your position around the outside as well. And the pit lane is an interesting thing here at Sandown Raceway, because drivers always use the pit entry as a little bit of extra road on the outside of turn 12. When you're fully committed to the pit entry, it's difficult to tell until late, and then it's a narrow and kind of old pit lane, but then it's a long run from the pit exit down towards turn 1, a long run from the starting line down towards turn 1 as well.
Yeah, well, the timing line certainly is a fair way, but here on the grid there'll be around pit exit or thereabouts for our very front row started, so a little bit less of a run in some respects here at Sandown than what the overhead map would suggest. But another thing we can talk about with the track is it has undergone some evolution over the years, David, although not too much really. 3 main layouts and sort of eras to this track can be sort of laid out on the overhead map.
There's your World Sports Car Championship layout for a brief moment, and then the modern layout. You can't see much left of that old World Sports Car layout, but there's just a few of the extended infield bits that remain, and what's left is basically half the length of Mount Panorama.
It's actually a very good synergy there in that respect. But we'll have to talk more about the track as the race goes on, I think, David. I want to try and actually get to some footage from qualifying shortly. So maybe just a quick look here at championship standings. And, well, for what feels like the first time in a little while, since probably season 19 or 20, I'd have to say, it's getting very tight at the very top of the championship. Sean McNamara versus Jordan Ross, blow for blow, it seems. Although Jordan, 3 wins in a row so far in this season versus Sean having the opening 2 to kick things off, David. It's the momentum looks to be swinging the way of the 143.
Perhaps not blow for blow. I think Sean McNamara landed a couple early, thought Jordan Ross was down, and Jordan Ross stood back up, and now it's a really, really close championship at this halfway point. Definitely the live points graphic is going to get a workout, perhaps, for the rest of the season. Elsewhere, though, Jeff Thomas remains in third with some consistent performances. Robert Crisdale, Luke Allman, Christian Smart, Chad Lewis, Sean Vandermeulen jumping into the top 10 there, Dean Flavel and Brian Minogue.
Yeah, and Scott Gamble now just outside the top 10, jumped up 10 spots by picking up a P3 last week in Detroit. Unfortunately for Christopher Burridge with a non-appearance at this stage with no drop rounds calculated into the mix. He falls down to 14 positions at this stage. Those drop rounds, we'll start talking about them in a couple of weeks as they start being applied provisionally. And then once we get to the end of round 9, they are locked in. And then we'll have our situation for the championship all figured out prior to that final week of racing. But a little bit more focus here on tonight, David. And as you said, that when we race here in the real world, at least we used to, I should say, did 161 laps. It's half a Bathurst. We've gone half again here tonight, given that there is just the one driver in each car out on track.
Yep, so 250 big ones tonight. 75% is the percentage of the race distance you've got to complete to be a classified finisher, and every point can matter and very well might. The weather will be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Basically expecting that the track will start with some little puddles, wet in a couple of places, but dry out as we go. And then 80 litres of starting fuel, a tank capacity of 113 with 2 compulsory pit stops, but across 250 kilometres. You're driven less by the compulsory pit stops and driven more by the fact that you are going to burn through a lot of fuel and need to take perhaps even as much as almost 150 litres, depending on safety cars, which feel likely here, and other things like that. And if we do get a lap 1 safety car, the compulsory pit stop window does not open. Otherwise, it opens at the end of lap 2 or when that safety car is withdrawn.
Yes, indeed. We'll get to the strategies graph in a second, but I just want to share some footage here live from the circuit, David. Qualifying is just about to wrap up. Looks like nearly all of our drivers have completed their permitted laps in the session. There's only a couple of drivers circulating around. You can see there is a dry line on that racing line developing, but as you said, there are puddles offline. It is going to be damp currently offline as well. Look at that there into turn 1. Braking up the inside is going to be hairy, possibly even just not advisable for the first stage of this race.
The good news is that about 40 big roaring racing cars ought to move a little bit of water as we go. So this is those possible strategies. Starting with plenty of fuel on board sort of nullifies a few of the early stop strategies because you can't fit a whole lot in and then you'd be headed for a very, very long stop number 2. The teal is probably what you'd think of as kind of perhaps the optimal one.
It's generally been the strategy that most of the drivers will aim for. I do have that late stop strategy in the graph as well. Take it all the way out to the end of the tank, which if you're saving fuel is 30 laps, even possibly 31, but otherwise 27 or 29. And you can get it probably as far as lap 70 or so, but then you're looking at basically doing a 10-lap sprint at the very end of the race, and that doesn't quite seem like a great way to have made use of your tyres around here. So yeah, I would expect, that teal line has been the favourite to continue to be so, but the fuel tank capacity is there, David, that the drivers have the option to mix things up. And with a relatively short time loss as well, when it comes to the lane travel, maybe some flexibility drivers try and look to take full advantage of there in addition to all of that. As the cars are out in warm-up, but we've got a few more things to talk about here. Would you want to see the warm-up footage?
I'd like to take a look to our drivers on the Zoom wall, if we may.
Yeah, we certainly can.
So, Ray Smith up there, Luke Allman, Jeff Thomas, familiar faces. The new look, Dino is doing 112, and we'll keep an eye on that. Damien Cairns has also added his heart rate, and he's apparently not working as hard as Dean Flavel is. Jonathan Gallen, for the moment, we'll see. David Kirby, Greg Sharp, Michael Stewart, Sean McNamara, Scott Gamble, Christian Smart, and Travis Hunt. What's our count on Logitech Astro A50s?
That would be definitely...
I've got at least 3.
Sean and Scott, I can see clearly. The white headset really gives it away. In that little Zoom wall pocket, it's actually a little hard for me to actually tell if there's any others wearing maybe a black version of the headset. I have to do some...
Jeff Thomas might have a Corsair. I don't know. Anyway, they're all ready.
Headset.
The most expensive headset is Michael Stewart, who is racing in VR, and Greg Sharp as well. I think so there.
Yes.
Everyone else rocking the sort of triple monitors style. And a reigning M1 used cars driver of the day from Detroit Belle Isle last time out was Robert Crisdale. How many positions gained, Dan?
Up from 29th to 16th place, so that'll be a plus 14 at the end of the day. So a solid night out for him, according to my numbers. And yeah, after a bit of the tyre strategy games and wars that happened, certainly fairly well deserved. There's certainly quite a few contenders, but also they would have been repeat contenders if I remember correctly. So that's sort of how that all came to be.
Was in ways a very challenging race. Overtaking was very difficult at Belle Isle, as you would always expect. This feels like a street circuit in a couple of places, but I think we'll see a bit more passing from Sandown, particularly the challenge presented by these track conditions at the moment, and the much longer run down the front and back straight. Turn 1 could be your best opportunity. So to the grid then, David Kirby has pole position in what was a challenging qualifying session. Drivers needing to find out where the grip was and quickly. Some drivers needing to find out what the correct tyre was. I think we arrived on the fact that it was slicks, but that the whole racetrack was not dry. David Kirby on pole from Stuart Hall. Row, Justin McLean and Wayne Walker. The margin's still incredibly tight, despite the fact that rain normally creates a little bit more field spread. Trickier conditions spread everyone out a little bit further normally. Sean McNamara, was the retro livery not lucky for him last week, and he's back to the regular? Something to think about. He starts alongside Scott Gamble on the third row of the grid. Scott Mackay in 7th and Jordan Ross in 8th will make things very interesting for the championship. Mark Poynton starts in 9th, and that's a gorgeous livery for David Nash. He'll start out at 10th.
Just having a look at crossover into the race session. For the drivers, yeah, as we get to that, Jeff Thomas, Chris Burridge. I just want to quickly note, David, everyone down to top 25, slicks is what they're able to make work in qualifying.
So Jeff Thomas qualified 11th, alongside Burridge in 12th, who's hoping for a clean race here. Andrew Rushworth 13th, Chad Lewis in 14th, Travis Hunt in 15th, with Dean Logsdale in 16th. Matthew Brunt 17th, Brian Minogue 18th. Good qualifying from both of those. Michael Whiting 19th and Lorne Mackay in 20th. There's Stacey Boyd in 21st, John Latham in 22nd, Hello Cesar in 23rd, and John Gallen in 24th. Brad Doble in 25th, before apparently we get to drivers qualifying some wets. Luke Ullman is qualified 26th. Reese Degoe is qualified 27th. Greg Sharp is qualified 28th, but I've just heard him say he's broken his shifter in the warm-up and will not be racing. So perhaps we won't see Greg Sharp, unfortunately. Damien Cairns in 29th and Christian Smart in 30th. Michael Stewart and Ray Smith, 31st and 32nd. Some drivers that we might have expected to have seen in the top 10, perhaps. But we'll see what they can do in the race. Dean Flavel, the Dino Dino, out at 23rd. Wayne Sanderson in 34th. The last driver who set a qualifying time was Darren Goosey. Now, with a little bit of water, some puddles up against the curbs, not outrageous to go out on the track and not be able to successfully qualify with 3 laps. Robert Crisdale will be starting from 36th, and probably not an M1 used cars driver of the day again. Stephen Kennedy in 37th, Logan Barnett in 38th. There are some quick drivers at the tail end of this field. Luckily, they've got 250 kilometers to move forward.
And we'll watch for them here in this one, folks. Nearly time to get the racing underway here from Sandown as the clock comes down towards zero. Actually, about 30 seconds away, actually, I should say, on that one there. So we'll just wait a couple
Hello, Caesar on wets.
Ah, there we go. So I thought most of the drivers were going to start this one on slicks, would appear. I've been proven wrong with that statement.
Well, it might not be deliberate from Hello, Caesar starting on 23rd.
Lane, David, how far over they are. They are probably in the damp here on the run to turn one. I do not think they're going to be particularly keen on this one. As here come the revs, it's time to get ready to go racing for round 6 of the season from Sandown.
So Kirby is on the inside, gets a good getaway. Stuart Hall, not so much. Wayne Walker is going to rock it through the damp, kick the tail out and into the lead of the race. But where do they look to brake for the first time in towards turn one? It's Armco on the left side of the racetrack, Armco on the right, and in the tail of the field, a lot of drivers have found that. Now it's the curbs at turns 2 and 3. The water really likes to hide in the curbs as well, but the fast line a la Gold Coast is to hop across those. So Wayne Walker, that's his perfect start. Scott Gamble also making a great getaway. Justin McLean, not so great. Still showing Hello Caesar on wet tyres, and I think we learned from some previous rounds that you kind of just got to trust that when the graphic says it, even when it doesn't make sense. They're heading down the back straight now and see if maybe the straight line performance from Caesar is just a little lacking. His car length to Matthew Brunt suggests it's possible, but it is going to give you some confidence at least on lap 1.
Oh, yeah, look at that down the hill. He looks happy, and he's happy to go up the inside, perhaps.
You know what? I'll take that. Go a lap 5 stop to take the wets off, clear a compulsory pit stop, bada bing, bada boom. Track's going to remain cold all day.
Yeah, there's some sunny patches due later on, less cloud cover potentially, but this could work for him. I mean, yeah, the field all packed up, get a compulsory stop done early, and you don't have to fill the tank up all the way at the end of lap 1 here, so there is all of that possibility to play for us. Get underway and can confirm Greg Sharp is in the pit lane and hasn't taken to the race start here so far.
So a perfect lap 1 from Wayne Walker, who's up 3 spots. Scott Gamble, who's up 3 spots. Jordan Ross has launched up into 4th, and that has put him ahead of Sean McNamara. So McNamara, the championship leader, started higher on the grid. Jordan Ross has lit it up and quickly, and he's up into 4th place. About to see the end of this lap, what the lap times are like, and that will be very, very interesting to see how Hello Caesars stack up versus your drivers in the top 3. They seem to be pulling away from the field a little bit. Gamble also seems to have a lot of speed there. I think he'll challenge for 2nd.
Yeah, I expect it in all of this here, so yeah. Watch your ways. I think I just heard someone's car possibly grab a puddle and start over-revving. So there you go, 109 is the current pace setter. Scott Gamble looks to be the one on the money. Hasn't been challenged as the field comes across the line just yet. The big thing here, I think, David, is the field spread tonight we're going to see is rapidly expanding. Usually the field's not quite as packed as Andrew Rushworth's found the grass in turn 1 and now has to mind puddles on the rejoin 2, but he will do so by turn 2. But here we are looking at top 10 covered by 7.5 seconds already. Top 20 is something in the order of 15 seconds. It then gets more interesting here. At the back of the field is, Ray Smith. I think he missed the start and now he's...
He was on the grid and he made contact with Wayne Sanderson, both of them ricocheting off the Armco. I wonder if he's had more problems since, or he may have pitted to fix the damage. And that's basically put him a lap down and he's gone, yikes, I've got to get out of the way here because that car looks clean. He's pulled back onto the racetrack. I think the combination of time lost on the opening lap and the pit stop has put him a lap down, and then he's lost even more time. And needing to wait 20-30 seconds to let this whole group go. Scott Gamble still has the fastest lap of the race, but was not able to get by Stewie Hall. one of the drivers moving up through the field. Logan Barnett, remember, had no qualifying time. He's up 8 spots. Made an exit stage right. Brian Minogue at turn 1, trying to pass Halil Cesar, who I think now everyone's got a bit more temper into their slick tyres, are really starting to put some pressure on him as well. This is Cesar looking for some wet bits of the racetrack, and straight line speed is always compromised on those tyres. Justin Clean's gone into the wall, significant damage, but still has a motor. Cesar manages to hold on. Look at that gap up to Matthew Brunt now.
Okay, not looking too good for... Oh, no, who's that off the road? Allman, that's the Gorman, I think, off the road in the gravel. Lucky for him, the gravel does catch him here, though, at Dandenong Road.
And the cars catch the gravel. Look at how much they've dragged back onto the racetrack. It almost looks like hail or snow, both things that are entirely possible at this time of year in Melbourne. And dragged back onto the racetrack. He's dragged his car back onto the racetrack. Justin Clean's into the pit lane. Chad Lewis is into the pit lane for an early stop. And I think a lot of these drivers behind Cesar might also think about it, like Logan Barnett.
So that's
damage to McLean.
He's can't even get a put up his pit box. Right there you go. Rough start from McLean. We'll have to try and pick up some replays where we can, as Burridge is stopped on the circuit. Now, is that stuck, or is he just waiting for a gap?
Smith. Just waiting until he sees about 10 seconds on the relative box. Even then, it's hardly enough. As along comes Robert Crisdale. This is the state of play up front. Wayne Walker's been able to extend almost a 3-second lead. Passing, I think, proving difficult because you've got to go offline, you've got to go into the wet parts. And Scott Campbell, while he's quick, and he still has the fast. Oh, he does not have the fastest lap of the race anymore. Everywhere that he could pass Stewie Hall requires getting off the line and maybe getting into a bit too much slippery stuff. So a little pack forms here with Gamble and Jordan Ross, and obviously if Sean McNamara is flying along, he's going to start to catch them as well.
Yeah, this is the biggest problem, I think, if this is part of the race for all these drivers. Because they're down to find speed, but yeah, they're stuck. There's no safe way up the inside anywhere. The racing line is all they've really got for grip, and you're going to have to wait, it seems for now, for Stewie Hall to make a mistake to open the door. Or otherwise, just hope this track dries out faster than, say, the next 20, 30 laps, and you take away a big chunk of the race. Just look how much confident Scott's looking under brakes and in these slower corners. Stewie. So that's time that we'll be desperately hoping doesn't keep bleeding.
It's actually pretty clever from Stewie Hall, though, that he doesn't go offline to try to defend this. He just stays on the regular racing line. He says, nope, you're not going to get by. Off that line and into the wet has cost a lot to Scott Gamble. Now Jordan Ross is going to get up there. He had to take the risk. It didn't pay off for Scott Gamble. And down at turn 12, there has been a conflagration. Who's been off the road? I reckon Brad Doble was one of them.
He's the one on the radio about it. So that would be suggestive as... Oh, bit of spice at turn 1. Meanwhile, looks like Stacey Boyd might have gotten to the back of Halil Cesar based on that redress. That's just happened there. It's going to allow Christian Smart through for free.
Pretty good for Christian Smart. A couple of drivers are getting slowdown penalties at the S's here. If they miss turn 6. And cut too far across the runoff. Something to look out for. Now, is Jordan Ross going to be able to successfully pass Stewie Hall? What he's trying to do is keep 2 tyres on the racetrack, and he hasn't. He's kept 2 tyres in the side of Stewie Hall and locked him up on the wet. Now Gamble will get back what he lost, doing something incredibly similar. Stewie Hall is sitting in the groove, and the rest of them are skipping whenever they put their needle elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be, it's an exercise in pain for these guys, because they're trying to get something going here, and they just it's not going to be able to for a while, I don't think, which is going to make this a very interesting race. Does somebody pull an early pit stop here now? Get it out of the way. The only problem is that the critical lap doesn't open up until pretty much on the halfway point with the fuel tank restriction. So you can comfortably get to lap 40 from here. It's just the problem of, well, you can't be waiting on the lap 40 stop. And then where are you going to, if you then try and pit? Even now, after just 8 full laps for the drivers in the mid-pack and the start of the 9th lap for at least, look how much they're already spread out here on the circuit. They're mostly packed in the sector 3, but when you're adding Crisdale, Burridge, Barnett, who's just set the fastest lap of the race too, there's not exactly a ton of free road for the leaders to slot out into.
No, Caesar taking his pit stop and slotted out just behind the lead. It's so easy to go a lap down here. They've got to take a lot of fuel, which adds a lot of time to the pit stops. It is quite a slow pit lane. 60 k's an hour, but being hardly over a minute lap, you end up off the lead lap with a pit stop oh so easily. Wayne Walker is still extending his lead out front. Gamble's now back to behind Stewie Hall. Jordan Ross will get back up there eventually. Things are going okay for David Kirby after amazing qualifying, sitting on pole and just not quite getting away how he wanted. Decent initial getaway. I don't know where he lost the rest of those spots sort of thereafter. But Wayne Walker and his race start, absolute lightning, picking the correct way to go. I think Kirby looks entirely happy with 5th place.
I mean, yeah, not to rag on David too much. We haven't really seen this kind of a qualifying result for him. If not in some time, then possibly since we've really been covering top split of the V8 Vets here. So this is very much a breakout opportunity, it feels like, tonight. And yeah, just Wayne with an absolute pole shot at the start from, I believe, 4th place, actually, you see it on the on positions gained. He's on the was it the wet side that the drivers?
It kind of looked like 2nd row of the gripped up side, but
yeah,
and obviously it's been proven now that that was the grippier side, but it doesn't mean everyone measured the amount of grip correctly, because Kirby still
maybe just tipped over too much into turn 1 himself.
Got away better initially than Hall.
Seconds on. Oh, no, it's not.
Similar. Down the inside, lock up. Nope. Gave it a go. Doesn't work. And he's going to lose more now. If he keeps that position, it's kind of an unsafe rejoin, to be honest. So Kirby will go to 4th. Stewie Hall keeps 2nd. Now it's Jordan Ross behind him. David Kirby up into 4th. Scott Gamble twice has had a go and hasn't quite brought it off. Nice here GRM livery is that going to be for David Nash back in 6th. Now Campbell's on the wet stuff again. How's that going to work out for him? Not great.
It's brave. Does it push Kirby a bit deeper? Oh, it does. There you go. As I said, this is what you got to do. You got to force the error out of the drivers around you. And there's just enough of a dry line there between Dandenong Road and turns 11 and 12 here that it works for Gamble. He gets the drive, he gets the spot back, and he's now got a couple of seconds of clear road to drive back into again to try and make up that time loss.
So it all opens up a little bit after Hill Caesar's pit stop. It's creating sort of a second group of drivers. We've got another drivers back there with David Nash, Scott Mackay and Sean McNamara. And look, on the new tyres, Caesar's sticking with them despite being a lap down. So I don't think this is horrible for his strategy at the moment. Last lap, sort of a minute 10 flat. It's quicker than a lot of the drivers he was around beforehand. The thing is that this is going to be a long stint for him. That's the curb where there's some cut course penalties coming. Also happening if you get the final chicane wrong. Christopher Burridge, who I think has that. And then turns 2 and 3. If you're into turn 2 too hot, you can end up cutting the course there.
And there you go, first take it to the pit lane of a front runner. Or, well, championship leader coming into tonight. I'm sure McNamara's going to roll the dice.
Yep, on the new livery after the retro livery stopped bringing him luck. So lap 12, McNamara comes in. Probably felt he was part of a train that wasn't doing quite what he wanted there. What a perfect exit for second place, Stuart Hall. Jordan Ross, he took the same risk that Scott Gamble did. It didn't pay off, and we haven't seen him go for it again. Now we're going to see him put the nose there and know that he can't outbrake on the wet part. He's just trying to get in Stewie Hall's head. And I'm telling you, this is great defensive driving in these conditions from Stewie Hall to not try to move his car around defensively, but just park it on the grippy line, even when other drivers get overlapped down the inside of him. Normally, you'd think, oh, in dry conditions, you'd think I've lost this. But the confidence to know what's the fast line for him and just stick on it is actually really good defense, even when it's counterintuitive to your normal racecraft.
Wet racing is very much its own art. And yeah, seeing it right here, right now. Stewie, even as the gap goes up past 9 seconds to Wayne Walker in front. For a moment, apparently, and it's going to come back down a couple of tenths. Yeah. Jordan's very close as he tries the inside here. There is a bit of width up here on the backstretch, David, but then, of course, it narrows up by the time you get to turn 6.
Go, he's off the road. Turn 1. He got a bit of help. It's so tempting to try to pass down there at turn 1 and so difficult to pull off at the moment. Group place that you could get down the inside.
You know, I'm wondering, that's looking like it's open. The dry line is opening up into Dandenong itself. I mean, to get there would have to take one heck of a brazen move. Maybe there's an inkling of a possibility if you're right on the gearbox through turn 6. Just get the nose to the inside and hope you're still grip there, but you're taking one heck of a risk.
Damien Cairns took that one heck of a risk behind Christian Smart in 18th place. It just didn't pull off. Stacey Boyd nearly got down the inside of him. There's a group of really quick drivers there. 18th to 24th here. We know Smart, Cairns, Boyd, Michael Stewart's up 10 positions. Dean Flavel's up 11. Stephen Kennedy is up 15. Luke Allman behind as well. Smart doing there, moving across and just testing the wet. Yep, still wet.
Slick tyre, you're not really going to dry it out much, but every little bit might just help. And then taking the curbs, confidence, and there you go. Fresh slick tyres, and must be in a little pocket of free air. He is Sean McNamara, goes fastest lap of the race, and he's currently about a second on the lap faster than the leaders.
Dan, this pocket of drivers has both of our heart rate monitors, with Damien Cairns in 19th and Dean Flavel in 22nd. And Cairns is doing a lot of work behind Christian Smart right now. Really thinking I could get by, and I'd definitely be faster if I did. And the numbers back that up as well. Smart is just going to hold on. It'll be tough to do, and yeah, okay. This is pretty intense. Matches up pretty well.
Cairns' heart rate on the left, Flavel's heart rate on the right as Will McKee, first driver to be at the ire of race control with a black flag to their name. I presume for the incident with Reese DeGoey based on the timeline as another second taken by Sean McNamara in his little fresh pocket, which is behind this pack. So he will catch them, and at this rate, he's catching it nearly 2 seconds a lap. So it's not going to take, was Gamble's going to respond.
Yeah, McNamara will catch Grisdale, then he'll catch Goosey and Doble, and then he'll start catching this group. But he's sort of got 5 more laps before that happens. We'll get a couple of other pit stops like Scott Gamble. And yeah, Lorne McKee comes in to serve that penalty. Now 10 seconds, 10 between Wayne Walker leading the race and Stewie Hall in second. That getaway from Walker to lead through turn 1 on lap 1 has given him that consistent fresh air. Big crash for Scott Mackay.
Ooh,
and David Nash.
We've had some issues here. Oh, is it damage on Mackay's front end? I think that yeah. Oh dear, that's quite absent. The front end, Scott Mackay.
So exiting turn 4, you've still got the walls super close on either side. Comes a car park very quickly there with a little bit of contact. Guy hasn't made a pit stop yet, so I'm sure he'll think about it.
Here's what we missed off screen. Oh, okay.
And then Ross is parked and he's on the racing line and swerving through. David Nash gets into Scott Mackay. So Ross is trying to redress, but he has to come basically to a full stop. And then there's the next pack of 5, 6 drivers here. So Nash is a little blindsided to it because he can see Ross, but then he moves line, he can see Hall. And then he swerves, touches the wet grass, then he hits Mackay.
In a bit of a sticky spot. Thankfully, there's enough road for him to see him pass him as well. That might just have given Scott Gamble a massive free kick, along with Sean McNamara too. Now, critically, McNamara has jumped Gamble to the tune of 6 seconds. 5 of that, though, is due to the pit stop.
So Kirby up to second, Dean Logsdale is going to pit from 8th. Yes, third. Stewie Hall did end up losing some spots later on in that you saw those other drivers come through. So Mark Poynton was able to get through cleanly. The race is in the 108, but no one who was running on the tyres they started on was getting to that kind of pace. Walker was sort of a mid 109 and kind of stayed there in the lead of the race, but it's been consistent because he's the leader, he gets the blue flags, he mostly has clean air, something you're not guaranteed of being, say, Sean McNamara and pitting when you did. Logsdale rejoining there.
That just behind on the stretch.
And that's off the road for someone.
Scott Mackay's just, popped up there as, doing a bit of lawn mowing expeditions. Chris Burridge is circulating with no front clip on his Camaro there in the back of the shop.
Yeah, Burridge hasn't made a stop yet, so maybe it's time. There are a lot of tracks through the grass at a number of places.
Oh no, Chris.
Latham goes and makes another one. That's a massive hit for Burridge.
How does that visually look like he's walked away from that one? Completely fine. The steering looks straight. We've found the softest tyre wall, yet also incredibly elastic.
Well, we found some preloaded ones at Belle Isle. So maybe we find the jumping castle type here at Sandown. This is predominantly a group of drivers that haven't stopped yet. We'll see ahead of Doble.
Over there in a two-way race scrap. McNamara, though, is closing in on them, so this will become a 3-car fight in the near future. Given that.
So does that pace advantage for McNamara mean he can make positions if he's got enough of a speed advantage? Can he fly off the final corner quick enough to then get ahead and get back onto the racing line down towards turn 1?
Let's watch it.
Doble's going to get partly on that wet line. I feel like he's going to get partly into the runoff of turn 1 as that thing doesn't stop, doesn't turn, goes to the wrong side of the curb, very wet in the runoff. Sean McNamara loves to see that because now he gets through some of that traffic, losing less time. How is he going to make it happen versus Goosey?
Superior drive, that's for sure. Oh, Goose just gives it up. Okay, there you go. Freest gift that Sean could ever ask for there. Puts a bit of pressure on Darren, but also Darren, I guess, can see that he's clearly not running the same race strategy as Sean, and he decides he's going to play the gentleman drive, give the gentleman acknowledgement there. If your race is not my race, and I'll let you get on with yours.
So it moves McNamara into 18th place as the highest running car to have stopped. So McNamara's got something to tell his teammates there, has a little stretch. It's up the monitors, doesn't give us a wave, that's fine. He has before. Oh, Doble's doing the same thing again. He locks up and he's into the side and he's going to kind of shove Goosey out of the way. And RaceSmith's off and into the inside Armco. Another Camaro front clip for the collectors.
And they're not going to be a collector's item at this rate, based on that. And the full circle turn. Is that Wayne? Yeah, that was Wayne Walker just trying to mind his own business and keep on racing. So far, it's working beautifully for him. He's still lapping a decent, well, 4/10 faster than Kirby on that last lap. Works out quite well for him. It's Travis Hunt, next driver towards the top half of the field to pit. See where...
Number one thing to keep an eye on right now is that the gap between Wayne Walker and Sean McNamara is 54.6 seconds. So if that kind of gets under 50, then I think the race leader is being undercut by Sean McNamara. McNamara's about to hit a bunch of traffic. They're about to get a whole bunch more pit stops, and that'll open up more of a pit window for Wayne Walker, David Kirby, Jordan Ross, etc. But yeah, no, it's another 3 or 4 seconds of free real estate for Sean McNamara now.
It's lucky this pack in front, which consists of Law Mackay, Stacey Boyd, Dean Favell, Michael Stewart, Christian Smart, might just disperse soon. They only have about another 6 to 7 laps of fuel. So he might just get his pocket gears. That's Ray Smith limping it back to the pits. Thankfully, he's still off the track for Sean.
Was that fuel burn calculated on this type of track state?
Well, that's the issue. I don't know what this track is going to be doing for the fuel burn. So there might be another lap or two in it, perhaps.
Because they're on slick tyres, but it's
Stewie.
wet. Oh no, Stewie Hall from inside of the top 5. Someone else has just run off. Could be Stacey Boyd deep in turn 1 there. No, it's a Frog Leap juiced car. So Stewie Hall between turns 3 and 4 has no engine. Sails back on the road. He seems to have propulsion. That is a narrow part of the racetrack. And so I'm on tenterhooks right now as we get a safety car. 23 laps later than I thought we'd get one. Wayne Walker was past the pit entry, but David Kirby, Jordan Ross, Mark Poynton all come in. So Walker is out there, and we're going to see him in shot in a second, I think. But everyone else who hasn't pitted is pitting. RaceSmith also got damage and going to try to tow. So Wayne Walker needs to get around, I suspect, quickly to pit lane. I didn't have an eye on what his margin to Sean McNamara was, but I'd expect McNamara to end up in the top 5 once everyone stops. I'd almost expect McNamara to be contending for the lead.
I think Wayne there was at full tilt coming into Dandenong Road. So there you go. Gap is still 54 seconds, apparently.
McNamara's already up into second place, though. So it's Walker versus McNamara for the lead of the race. Bit of rear locking coming into the pit lane for Walker as well, getting down to 60 k's an hour. Seems a bit wet and slippery there. Now he qualified fourth, so he's got to look for garage number 4. That'll be his. And here's where McNamara is. So I think Walker can take enough fuel. Like, depending on how much fuel Walker takes, he can stay in the outright lead. But if he takes a lot of fuel, he might not.
Actually, let me... So, Sean, they're orange. Let me just try and find the track map. Just put Wayne and Sean on it. That might be useful here for the time.
McNamara's pit stop was only 26 seconds, and Walker seems to be taking a fair bit more fuel. I don't think he was speeding on pit entry, but he's still being held for one of the longest pit stops I've seen, 42 seconds. So McNamara will get the race lead.
No, he won't. McNamara boxes.
Huh. Okay.
In fact, I think Scott Gamble just pipped him, I think.
Long stop for Wayne Walker, but now he'll have more fuel on board than anyone else to get to a quick final stop. So just 11 seconds for McNamara, basically a new set of tyres and however much fuel it can add in the same time. So a quick stop for McNamara. He will end up 10th.
Yeah, I think he's just bolting on the seats, just bolting on the set of tyres and taking fuel to cover it. So he's not at a tyre disadvantage, is Sean. But that does mean his net... where's he at? McNamara is now net down 5 with this strategy.
Yeah, 26 seconds of fuel at the first stop, and then 11 or 12 now is still less than Wayne Walker took and has the same age of tyres. Who has stayed out though? Yeah, Gamble and Logsdale and Travis Hunt, who'd stopped just before the safety car was called. Hello Caesar stays out, 17th. Only driver to start on the wet tyres, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, he mostly made it work. It's just, yeah, going to be a case of...
I mean, on the opening lap, it was great.
And yeah, he maybe had a bit of room to work with too on that opening lap, but as everyone found their rhythm and realised...
Drama on the back straight for Christian Smart. You can see that McLean's off the track there, and Christian Smart's lost his suspension and his front clip.
What's happening out there, gents?
We've got the magic box to wind back and tell us. So we're catching the safety car.
Oh no.
Justin McLean clips Christian Smart, goes into the wall. There's a crest there. The pack is just beginning to form up there. I kind of want to see McLean's on board here, so we're going fast. But you can see how many cars there are there. You can see Smart slowing. It's like he's looking at fuel numbers or something right at the time when you need it to be looking forward. So you can, there you see, 4, 5, 6 cars up the road heading towards the hill. And you see, it peaks out, and you see Smart starting to slow down, and he just gets closer.
Yeah, definitely looks like a case of we're pushing when we don't need to. Send the car out on track. The field is somewhat under control. Most people have done their stops. And odds on needing to push at this point in second class segments are pretty good. So yeah, that's it's not going to be looking too grand. That's control, I suspect.
Because my thought process was there is, I could see a situation where you're behind Christian Smart and you actually can't see anything, and Smart comes over the crests and finds like a bunch of slow cars, slams on the brake, and then you go into the back of him. But you saw that if you're paying 3/4 attention, you'd see the train that you were a part of. Christian Smart begins slowing down before he puts the brakes on, so he tries to be as gentle with it as he possibly can. He still gets hit going over the crest. So everyone has made a pit stop. Scott Gamble's was 10 laps ago. Wayne Walker has stopped with the safety car, so did Jeff Thomas. Sean McNamara's 2 stops is still not going to get him all the way to the end, but he'd rather have the fresh tyres and the fuel on board than the track position, which doesn't mesh with how difficult overtaking has been. It's still not completely foolish, especially if you're expecting another safety car later.
Yeah, I would think the gambit tonight probably should have been to take the track position, but maybe there is something out there that we don't know from the pace that Sean was putting down earlier on in the stint that we should be paying attention to. One last thing before we do go to the restart here, which we'll be seeing in this next lap, is looking up what happens to Stewie Hall to kill the engine on the Nova Sim Sports 49.
On board with him.
Well, that's a little unusual. Did he just go down the front stretch here?
Fractionally too early into second gear.
It sounded fine. Did he overstress into turn 1 perhaps and it just delayed? 3 slightly aggressive downshifts there to turn 1, David. Maybe just he's just and a 4th one there. Maybe just Stewie's just had a pattern tonight of using a bit too much engine braking, and over time he's chipped away at the motor like that. At least that's what my...
Very unlucky and frustrating, no doubt, because he qualified so well on the front row of the grid. Has it been a tiny bit of a poison chalice to qualify on that front row? David Kirby will restart in 7th, having been the pole sitter tonight. Safety car pulls away. Scott Gamble leads from Wayne Walker, Jeff Thomas, Dean Logsdale, Travis Hunt, Scott Mackay, David Kirby, Jordan Ross, Mark Poynton and Sean McNamara. This would put Jordan Ross into the lead of the championship if they finished as they are, but we know McNamara has taken that second stop. Scott Gamble saw many times how difficult it was to pass in towards turn 1. Well, now he can exercise the same, using the racing line, leading the way in the clean air. Beginning lap 29 down towards turn 1. No one all race long has been afraid of the curbs at turns 2 and 3. They've cleared them off pretty well. The wet line is in some other places. Walker have versus Gamble. Walker having led most of the race to this point before that stop phase. Smells biggest positions gainer in that top 10.
Speaking of, the question of the day is, who's that going wide? It's Rushworth, I think. Yeah. Just chasing who that could have been. For those who are engaged in the broadcast live for this week, I've actually thrown the question of, would you take track position or fresh tyres, based on what we've seen so far tonight in the stream chat. So feel free to give that one a whirl. Want to chip in, as Logan Barnett has dropped from the server, and I think he was out there in the train, so that's pretty cool for him, as Michael Stewart jumps on the horn.
I think he's going to report the blinking in front of him.
Oh yeah, that's not looking too great.
No, Dino Dino's not doing great. We've got this sort of continuing thing that occurred a week ago and is happening in other places where you sort of get maybe this far an hour into a race. Someone around. Well, Caesar it is.
One line only, folks, past the number 5 machine.
And folks are getting sort of technical problems, sort of like an hour into a race when it was fine to begin with. So we lost someone to that.
No. Another engine goes.
Kennedy's smoking. It's not going to have much go at all. He will get back to pit lane, presumably without causing a safety car. We go racing again. Wayne Walker's new tyres are doing great for him. So he sets a new fastest lap of the race and is going to keep some pressure on Scott Gamble. But importantly, the two of them are going to get away from Jeff Thomas and Dean Logsdale and Travis Hunt and Scott Mackay. Those drivers that didn't pit underneath the safety car, there's sort of four of them that form a buffer between Gamble and Walker and Jordan Ross and Sean McNamara. So this is the new tyres versus track position quandary. And if the drivers on new tyres can't get past the drivers with track position, I think it's pretty clear which one's winning.
Yep, just going to have to wait and see here. Because this is possibly the risky part of the race where, like, if you've got the tyres underneath you, do you take a risk into one of the normal overtaking zones, or do you have to try something in an alternate spot like there? Turn 11, perhaps. The road looks like there's a bit of width to the slick stuff. Yep, no surprises there. Black flag away of Justin McLean for the incident under safety car with Christian Smarters. Wayne just going to test my theory by touching the puddle on pit exit. I don't think that was meant to be part of the script there, but he gets it gathered up in time to make turn 1 no problems.
So McLean straight in to serve that penalty for contact under the safety car. You can see your top two, and then the next group. Sean McNamara is right on Mark Poynton's bumper. And a little bit of a gap. Andrew Rushworth had that slowdown on the restart lap, but held 11th place, so there's a group behind him. There's another group behind Stacey Boyd. McNamara, having pitted 13 laps into his run to put a new set of tyres on, put a little bit more fuel in. He's got new tyres compared to a couple of these drivers in front of him. Even Jordan Ross looks really quick but unable to make progress just yet.
Say goodbye to the tyre compound information on the overlays, I think, because everyone's on slicks at this point. And yeah, have a look at here on the tower, just when people last pitted. Keep it up for next while. Also, again, remembering you've got about, if I broom the tank, 40-ish laps possible. Now, with the safety car, we're looking at 41, 42 perhaps as well. So those drivers, if they made sure to top it back up pretty full when they stopped on those 17, 18 cycles, they look to see them go into the mid-50s at least.
Jeff Thomas is pulling away from this group. His tyres 6 laps fresher than Dean Logsdale. Travis Hunt was trying to put some pressure on Logsdale, but there's less of a tyre delta there. Into Danson on the road. Kirby got in there a little hot, but everyone was okay for the most part. Difficult with traction on any day in any conditions, I'd say. Plenty of wheel work coming out of the corner for Jeff Thomas.
As you rightly point out, that 7/10 pocket he's got behind him just means he's not really under any pressure to hit marks, well, overdrive the car actually and miss your marks, I guess, at this point in the race. Ebbs and flows a bit here. You can see down towards half a second, then back up again. Through and out of the first sector here. As a said goodbye to Chris Burridge and Stephen Kennedy as well. From the race circle at this time. Yeah. Kirby, Ross, they're not really moving in the train. Wayne is sitting half a second off. There's Scott Gamble and not really making inroads over, so
McNamara tried to go around the outside of Mark Poynton at Dandenong Road there, and it was a surprise to almost no one. It didn't work, but he's really trying all sorts of different stuff. Bit of a slide from Poynton. Then Poynton's part of this group. It's like a DRS train type of situation. Jordan was into the wet and then back into the dry. we know that the slick tyres on these cars heat up very quickly and are very temperature sensitive. Is that actually a clever thing to do?
Maybe.
I'm trying to think about the inside for turn 4, but it's such a risky maneuver to do that also hasn't worked out for him before when he rotated. Gee, who was it?
Stewie Hall was in front of him.
Yeah. This has started to spread out a tiny bit though. After that restart, they were absolutely clumped. You got Jeff Thomas and Dean Logsdale finding a little bit more pace. Still no moves happening. The most likely candidates do seem like McNamara versus Boynton and Travis Hunt versus Dean Logsdale. If it can be done, we'll see if it gets done. And your leader's just up there, not pacing away too far. Wayne Walker, I think, biding his time, has just sat sort of 5/10, 6/10 behind Scott Gamble this whole time.
These guys here have closed back up underneath the rear wing of Jeff, I'd say. Numbers suggest that it's not that much, but visually it looks like they've really done a number on getting up to the back of him. Although Travis, yeah, he's not too happy about that one there through turn 4. Gives up his chance to really threaten and pressure Logsdale on this run down the stretch. Lucky for him, he's got a bit of breather back to Mackay.
Man chews more gum than anyone I know. This is why he's sort of worried. It's not only, oh, I don't get to attack Dean Logsdale, it's I've got to worry about Scott Mackay. Andrew Rushworth has another slowdown, so he's been having problems in the S's lately. Cost him a spot to Nash. Might, you know, yeah. Nash is ahead. What about Whiting? Perhaps too far back. That's Ray Smith trying to unlap himself? Oh, no, Whiting's in a different livery than I was expecting and has run a line that a few others have done, which is the inside of turn 1, lock up a brake, push wide, run off of turn 1. Jordan Ross, Scott Gamble, all the greats have done it. It's a Wall of Champions type situation.
Yeah, we're joining the illustrious list of drivers who have tried and yet to make turn 1 succeed as Cairns and Gallen have done a bit of a switch, it seems. Is this here or is this fairly benign? Is that Gallen somehow gone off track up in that opening sector? How's he done this?
Oh, technical problem by all accounts, yeah.
Pull it off track, unless you count the off track part being where he wasn't visually apparent to all of us.
Curious to see what kind of a pace David Nash gets. So I think he's just had one clean lap and gone 109.5. So he's not hanging about. He could catch this group. David Kirby and Jordan Ross, Mark Point, and Sean McNamara. It's where the action's been.
Yeah, last lap was nearly a tenth faster than Kirby and Ross, but it's probably going to need, at least to get it down at any appreciable rate, we need to find a couple more tenths. But Kirby, interesting, he's going searching, or is this an attempt now to actively try and clear water off the circuit where it's safe to do so with slick tyres? Or both?
I don't think they're trying to, you know, adjust the pitch
to worry about clear water.
I think it's just about managing your own tyre temperatures. You've seen Jordan Ross do it we know that these slick tyres are at their best when they're a bit cooler than where they end up soaking. Jordan Ross has got a good run here, but there's just a little bit too late, and he knows there's no grip braking down the inside there either. Rushworth has done it again.
Oh, sure. Andrew, no. Oh no, it's bully John Gallen time though down the S's.
Yeah, wrong side of the curb there as well. On Mackay. Here's Michael Stewart, inside of the right, outside of the left, marbles wet, no grip at all. Now alongside Reese DeGoey, there's Brad Doble and Luke Allman. Oh, and Allman and DeGoey come together down the front straight. Allman goes to the outside, DeGoey kind of closes that off, pitches him around. I think DeGoey kind of, it's a redress of sorts. Got both sides of him going down into turn one as well. McLean went straight around the outside, DeGoey's got a bit of damage.
It's getting hairy.
Mine's around the outside of Poynton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, he's finally made that round the outside of Dandenong Road work. Sean McNamara through the S's, getting close enough. Maybe making Mark Poynton defend a little bit. Drives around the outside of him. Stay on a dry enough line. Now, McNamara and Ross, 3 points separating them in the championship, have just a couple tenths of a second separating them on the road. If they finish inside of the top 5, it's basically who finishes ahead on the road leads the championship.
Pretty much. Don't forget though, Sean gets another bonus point not able to be represented here live, being on the Zoom call tonight, which Jordan is sacrificing, and neither of them get the pole bonus. Neither of them have led laps yet tonight, and Wayne Walker holds the fastest lap of the race. Only possible change to the situation is whether in the next 40-odd laps they'll still be on 0 incident points. That's the only thing at this stage. It's massively swing things.
It couldn't be closer in the points with 1 point separating them. Kirby was just struggling at the S's there. So now Jordan Ross is in the hot seat. McNamara has found a way to make some passes happen. John Gallen's had more problems, but I think he's still driving. And there are so many places where it is Armco and it's only 3-4 meters off the track and you can end up in it. Yeah, you've got some help, I'm sure, to end up where and how he did. What do you do in Jordan Ross's position here? You kind of got to do something because McNamara's breathing down your neck. But how can you get past David Kirby? He's been trying and not willing to take any insane risk. Hasn't worked before.
Here's the chance maybe. Is this the one?
Half a car up, has to brake a little bit earlier, but does it puts him offline. Yeah, so he'll get the inside if he can stop down at Dandenong Road, having just put David Kirby offline. Now McNamara tries to go over-under. He's going to try to get through on this as well. John Gallen's very damaged car is off the side of the road there at the moment. Jordan Ross has bravely made that move work into 7th. And provisionally move himself into the lead of the championship. Every position matters.
They are tied once we add in Sean's Zoom point, but on countback, yes, Jordan would be leading by race wins for this season at a 3-2.
Jeff Thomas up in 3rd is taking points out of both of them the way it stands at the moment.
He is, yeah.
You factor in some drops and it's going to be tough for Jeff Thomas to feature in this championship. But just on the aggregate cumulative points scored so far this season, his consistency is paying well. And he's within 68 points of the championship lead. And his strategy's good and his track position's good. So Have we just crossed the critical lap number as well, by the way?
We are in the critical lap phase. You can make it home from here if you wanted to try and gambit. Track position, get out, get a run going. Problem is there a gap on track? I'd say so. No, you'd have to practically put yourself at risk of being nearly a full lap down to find a reasonable pocket of track to come back out into if you're one of these leading drivers that's looking to do something a bit different.
Right, well now McNamara's got to do something. Jordan Ross has gotten past Kirby. McNamara's seen how it was done. McNamara's invented some good moves of his own as well. Oh, he thought about it. He wanted the inside at turn 4 and he was like, no, but I can get a good exit here, and he does. Half a car length from closing in the slipstream underneath the rear spoiler past the kink, heading up the hill. Does he try for a repeat? Now you can get a little bit of the side draft. And I think if you can get your car half up here on the inside, you can get your car the whole way up on the inside, and you can move past Kirby, who ends up in the damp. Have a slowdown penalty because of that. Winter might get by him as well, but I think that was a fair move by McNamara. He was half of the way up. He was most of the whole way up. Kirby doesn't like it, but I wouldn't either.
Yeah, no, well, I'll be wearing off that. I think, yeah. Watching that back again, I really don't see what do you want Sean to do differently. Lost 2 balls out of himself again.
See, I think this McNamara.
Oh no, the engine's blown for Stu. Sorry,
McNamara gets far enough up here, and they're just, you know, you can't turn in if there's a car on the inside. If you try to, you make contact, then you say, oh, they make contact, but McNamara was there. McNamara turned into the corner. McNamara had his inside wheels on the curb. It's kind of the game you got to play to make a pass when offline is wet here at Sandown.
I mean, also critically for me, Sean holds the apex curb until well past the point where 2 cars can make it through that corner. I get David feels aggrieved, and he's had to take a slowdown for it, but there's no sign of anything untoward Sean with the way he's driven it into that corner there, so I would expect...
If anything, I think that was a better percentage move than the one Jordan Ross
pulled on him, yeah. 100%.
Travis Hunt's got itchy feet here as well. He's in 5th behind Dean Logsdale in 4th. Showing his nose at a couple of opportunities. Jeff Thomas just ahead of them in 3rd. 3 seconds behind Gamble and Walker. And I put to you that John Gallen is our first driver to have made 2 compulsory pit stops and be fueled within the critical window.
Let's check this. Actually, where is... I'd even suggest if this one here from Rob Christa, 6 laps into a stint, she put a pit stop on lap 41. Oh, no, sorry. Last stop on lap 38. Okay. Christa was a question mark. Gowan, definitely. Also short stop for Christa too, so maybe no exactly splash the car as Gowan has.
Gallen's lucky that he kept a fast repair to that second stop, because, yeah, he's got that thing all fixed up. It was not in a good way at all. He's a lap down to the cars you see him racing with there. He's kept going without his front bumper on. Just behind Wayne Sanderson, who locks up, runs deep. Wet, marbles, gravel, no grip. Goosey's going to go past. Did a Dragon Ball Z Fusion dance. I think it would be Reese DeGoosey.
It would be a real blender of a name run there.
So losing 2 spots there, but Sanderson has no damage on the car, and he'll try to gather it all back up. How many cars on the lead lap? About 28 or 29.
I have
Cesar. Robert Trisdale could be one of the last cars on the lead lap. into it with that uncharacteristically poor... Oh, that's off the road. Will McKee or someone else?
It is indeed the guy. Oh, and he's not stopping.
No, is he trying to get out of that?
I'm not seeing real much motion there from Lorne. I was just going to go to Michael Stewart. Another one of our zoom wall shots, but I think we might need to hold for a second here and find out. Lorne's still parked at Dandenong Road. So his car is going absolutely nowhere. Leaders are just passing him by now on the track map, as you can see. In fact, actually, we lose Lorne in all of that there as everyone goes by. There's been no call to tow though, so maybe we're talking about another system failure for Lorne in this case.
He is forlorn in this case because he's just gone a lap down. And yeah, the thing just sort of... he's braking here into Dandenong Road.
Connection's also going. Here we might be robbed of a decision to call a safety car. His car might have already managed. In fact, we'll try and bring him up now. Then we go on for the circuit. So we may be denied the second safety car tonight, folks. Because of that, which appears to be out of Lorne's hands. Just real quick, actual accident itself. Yeah, that's looking pretty substantial. All of a sudden just not steer and brake. But yeah, nothing really. Vel was now having issues as well.
Well, he has been intermittently
back
all
with
night.
a vengeance. In fact, it's so bad, it's now triggering his mechanical black flag.
Yes, that's the one that automatically sends you back to the pit lane.
That's, yep.
Race control, so levels.
Yes. Now, overlays can't distinguish it between an actual crash meatball, but it does have a slightly different flag, so it's another driver going to go down. Okay, I think it's just safe enough to have a quick look here and see how Michael's doing tonight. Zoom camera and all. It would appear, tragically, the greatest racing circuits of the world, Sandown doesn't quite make the list. It's a little too national rather than international.
Looks a bit sweaty. It looks like hard work. I think it has been all night. A bit of damage on his rear wing. There's been a few incidents throughout. Looks like that sort of carved driftwood art that you get. That's what his rear wing looks like. You know this sort of stuff. What model of VR headset's that?
I believe that's a Vario Aero headset that Mark's been racing for a couple of seasons now. Not a particularly common headset because that unit is not cheap, and in many respects would compete somewhere on the line of a Pimax Crystal. I think for specs.
See, I've been out of the loop since the Oculus CV1 and HTC Vive and thing.
It's definitely a rewind back in time to the pioneers of consumer VR.
Brian Minogue's in the pit lane. Scott Mackay has pitted from inside of the top 10. So he'd begun to catch the group of Jeff Thomas, Dean Logsdale, Travis Hunt, and he was making no more progress, so he's gone. Let's get a new set of tyres on. That set had done 34 laps, including a little bit of safety car. And once he caught this group and made no progress, he's in. Also in, we have had Halil Caesar and Reece Degoe as well. So something about 30 laps to go has fired a neuron for a lot of our drivers that are making what they expect to be their final stop of the race. Wayne Walker gets a bit closer to Scott Gamble, having sat half a second behind for a long time. I wonder if Walker now tries to make an impression, and if he can't, then he might also think about his stop. For Walker, I think strategically, you got to decide, am I willing to risk not finishing on the podium for a chance at winning this race? Because if he does whatever Gamble does, I think he finishes on the podium. But if he, pits to undercut Gamble, get him, because I think he's got a bit more fuel on board. So I think Walker will have a shorter final stop than Gamble, almost certainly. So maybe if he does just pit the same lap as Gamble, do what Gamble does, he could back in the lead.
Well, yeah. 10 laps late, 10 laps fresher tyres, 10 laps more fuel burned out of the car. So yeah, his fuel offset should see him. He's got potential to go much longer into this race than Scott. So maybe the simple answer for Wayne here is just follow Scott around, let him show you where the grip is. There's no real pressure from behind for now, and just let him be a bit of a strategy guide if you're not sure, and take your advantage in the pit lane. Because otherwise, yes, 100%. I would say that otherwise you want to undercut, do the stop first, and find a gap to make pace on your own.
Fastest driver on the racetrack the last 2 laps has been Sean McNamara, and again, even quicker, just that 2/10 quicker than Jordan Ross. David Kirby pits from just behind these guys, and a few others are feeding out of the pit lane a lap down. So McNamara's got the orange number. He's the championship leader. So long as he's within 1 position of Jordan Ross, I think the life points are always going to show McNamara as being in the championship lead still. Both of them are steadily trying to catch Travis Hunt. Got the lap down, Chris Dale in between for the moment. Yeah, comfortable 1-point championship lead for Sean McNamara on the provisional live standings. If they're both going to be so consistent, it's just going to come down to winner is whoever's got the most wins. And McNamara's in.
Okay, I'm liking this now. The dice has been cast. Has Jordan perhaps been just caught there napping a fraction on strategy? Or is Jordan confident in going along here?
Travis also comes in from 5th. Yeah, there is a chance of catching a bit of traffic, but you've seen from the 20th on down a lot of drivers come in for their final pit stop, so I think that opens up the space. You don't end up behind as many drivers as otherwise. Sees everyone else rolling through the lane. Travis Hunt is pretty key, is aiming for a top 5. McNamara just ahead of him, so McNamara's jumped Scott Mackay, jumped Travis Hunt. That's positive. That extra 10 seconds of fuel he took under safety car, I think, coming in handy, to be honest.
Yeah, put him on the same strategy as the others tyres-wise, but yeah, this clearly has come in with the fuel. David Nash responds. Jordan Ross, though, is staying out. Patch to see here. Do the tyres switch on for McNamara such that he's back up to speed straight away here, or is he going to need a lap to find the rhythm and then be at it? Because maybe there's a 1-lap race period here for Jordan, but I would think any more than 2 to 3 laps and it'll just be Sean driving straight on by and saying thank you very much.
McNamara had been quicker. A whole handful of other drivers like Christian Smart and Luke Allman come in. That's an ongoing stop there for John Latham. Scott Gamble leading the race, Wayne Walker behind him. They'll be coming up to 25 laps to go. They both stay out. You can see Brunt and Smart in the pit exit. Just going to be ahead of them, so they don't need to worry.
Thomas and Hillsdale will hit the lane and relinquish third place to Jordan Ross. Another good, and Rushworth again. You get a host of cars coming in here with 25 to go. And to get back to around, in that case, just shy of 80 litres in the tank as they roll out. There is McNamara in relation to all of them. Not even on the front start-finish stretch just yet. There they are rolling in the background.
It's Logsdale, so he's going to be behind McNamara, who sets a new fastest lap of the race to go with it, a 108.3. Jeff Thomas feeds out just ahead of his teammate Travis Hunt. Scott Gamble's in, but Walker continues. So the race leader stops.
I think we're fairly comfortable saying, yeah, Wayne has less fuel to take, so he should be able to make a weapon. I wouldn't want to stay out too much longer. Just get the stop done, get back into it as Brad Doble.
I think it's going to be incident points on that one. I think he's run wide out of turn one, and he's been a bit of a punching bag all day.
Nothing from race control, so it very much does indeed scream mistake there. All right. Gamble is away. He's found his own little pocket of track to re-emerge into. Now, so watch out for a hard-charging McNamara, who's now within 2 seconds of him. This has been a strategy. I mean, strategy is perhaps messing with our sort of understanding of the gaps, but they were not 2 seconds apart before McNamara came into the pits.
No, I think the real rivalries at the moment, Gamble, who's just stopped first, Walker, who hasn't, Jordan Ross, who hasn't stopped first, McNamara, who has, and is flying with the fastest lap of the race that he's just picked up as well. So McNamara perhaps undercutting Jordan Ross just a little bit.
Once again, normally I'd be all for an overcut like this being a strong option. I just don't want him to take it too far and be in a spot where he risks being under some unexpected pressure from, well, this is Gamble, but also McNamara. He'd have to tire the drive away, but he's got to stay in front to be able to do exactly that.
Bit of cloud comes back over. The sun was out for a moment. There's still plenty of wet patches around the racetrack, not as severe as it once was. Wayne Walker, another lap in the 109s as Jordan Ross pits. Gamble, kind of pace he can do, but basically everyone who's got new tyres from his top 10 is able to get down into the 108s sort of lap times. We were doing 111s, 112s at the very start of the race when there was a lot more water around. So, Ross versus McNamara. Quick stop from Jordan Ross. He's already rolling in pit lane. He's just beginning to exit the pit lane now as McNamara
Gamble in the background.
A bit further back.
I did not see that coming when it came to the pit stop differences, but okay, explains why maybe Jordan Ross wasn't so worried about the stop then. Huh.
This is lap of the race for Scott Gamble, not bad. Wayne Walker pits. So he had about 40 seconds to Jordan Ross, who's now second place. Or still second place. He shouldn't need much more than about 15 seconds of fuel, we think. So basically halfway through that now.
Yeah, Jordan's numbers sets the benchmark at 16 seconds on fuel. I'm going to drop off his jacks here in a sec. Yep, pretty much same money. Away he rolls, and Ross is coming down the start finish stretch, but it's happy days.
21 laps to go. 60 k's an hour very quickly becomes 260 k's an hour for Wayne Walker. New slick tyres are a blessing as well. Basically the first flying lap of the new set. We've seen multiple drivers reset the fastest lap of the race, from Wayne Walker to Sean McNamara to Scott Gamble. You wouldn't put it past Jordan Ross on this lap, and then Wayne Walker to take it back next lap as well. The traffic is being very respectful for Jordan Ross. Some of the other battles that have reignited throughout the field, pointing ahead of Dean Logsdale. Scott Mackay ahead of Jeff Thomas and Travis Hunt. So that's this whole group of 5 heading over the hill.
And it also is our biggest battle pack left in this race at this point in time. You've got Sanderson, Nash together, Runtcan, Smart somewhat together, Crystal Allman sort of hanging on but not really there. Just McLean, Brian Minogue, fast drivers duking it out, you can see at this point in the race, David. Actually, there you go, Nash and Sanderson will switch places.
Yeah, Nash has way fresher tyres. I think Sanderson, having last stopped 38 laps ago, will still need another one. And colour me surprised, Jordan Ross doesn't take the fastest lap of the race away on the lap he's just done, but it was quick, a 108.4. He needs to get to 108.279 to beat Scott Gamble.
This little pack for a moment. It's got 3 drivers in it, but also we have one of our remaining drivers who we haven't checked in with yet on Zoom. Is the Jim Ross's turn to set his sort of fast lap of the race.
Wayne Walker also in the 08.2 bracket, so they are flying along now. The track has sort of come towards them. The fuel's come down a little bit. The way it's all played out from a sort of from a bit of morning rain. .262 the front straight. Seeing drivers getting 270, so I wonder if that's happening on the back straight, where you get to brake a lot deeper because it's into a much faster corner. You've got to brake quite early for turn 1. Hands in slipstream. Went out of that for a second. Definitely eclipsing the front straight speed, but only just by a little bit.
Pushing the limit there was Damien Gaines, but all fair game there, as it looks like the GWM cars have done a bit of a switch, and then Travis Hunt's going to bowl it. Okay, was bowling it a hair wide, still allowed to keep the position, says Jeff Thomas. Watch out though, David Kirby's catching up to them pretty quickly if they keep this up.
Yeah. Quinton Logsdale. Mackay's got the oldest tyres here. tiny hint of traffic as well. With Degussy, I think, is the combination again.
Yep, that will check out. It will be separated. I'm not sure the way they will respect the blue flags. And back together. Actually, Degussy is going to get a freebie in the process of Degussy trying to let the JWM cars through as well. So we're going to have a bit of a back and forth between these two. Yep, here you go. Degussy's turn to move over and roll it down the stretch, although try and keep a bit of clip up on the back straight. Watch out there, Reese. Watch out for David Kirby. He wants to get past. He's not close enough just yet.
Climbing all over that curb. Went David Kirby. I thought he might have been headed for a slowdown penalty there, but apparently, as long as your left side tyres are on the curb, I think you're good. Letting cars go in front straight seems a lot easier than letting them go between turns 1 and 2.
Just a hair. Bit more space. Less pressure. Another car. Chicken. This is one of our other battles. Position on circuit. The last couple of spots in the top 20. And also one of the drivers we haven't checked in yet with on Zoom. That being a rough night for him. So, not the exact time, place, or situation that he wanted to be shown, but looking to give Chris Dull the hustle up. So maybe there's something here for him. Yeah.
Allman does have 17 lap fresher tyres, and you had Robert Crisdale in the can he make it camp, having stopped 27 laps ago, 28 laps ago, something like that. Allman seems to be giving him plenty of space though.
Yeah. He absolutely brimmed it. It'll be tight for Crisdale, but might just be enough to make it work. Sanderson. Trouble for Wayne Sanderson up ahead. Nope,
well, he pitted very early with damage, and then pitted with the safety car, and now he's got to pit once more. So 3 stops for everyone who had to make their first stop very early and then didn't carry a long middle stint because they also probably sensibly pitted with the safety car, and that led them to just needing one more stop. So similar to what we think is going to happen for Crisdale.
Poynton, Logsdale, Mackay here. Still some margin between them. It's sort of, continuing hold station. Gap has also sprung back out towards 7 seconds for Wayne Walker on Jordan Ross. He's just chipped away a 10th on him last lap. And in fact, the top 4 track position are also ordered that way on last lap time. So also it'll be Jordan Ross with the last laugh on fastest lap and the bonus point to go with. Things are in a holding pattern there too. Coming up here for nearly 12 to go at the line for Wayne Walker next time around, and then we can start talking about this final last phase of the race. But Yeah, the moves aren't really coming here tonight. The marbles now are very much down on the road, as you can see it. Places are down on the road, so that's going to make getting off the line that wee bit more hairier than it already was. So really going to come down to driver errors on corner exits. We might have just seen one there from Matthew Brunt. Damien Cairns makes something of it here on the run to T1. He's up underneath the SSR's rear wing. He's looking, he's not there though. Cairns stays in line in 16th place. Wait again. See if anything comes of it. Two of our drivers from the Zoom wall here in this battle, but neither of them are able to make any decisive moves for now.
The heart rate's down a little bit. I think we saw some like high 110s in the early going. And Cairns has been able to settle it a little bit. I think Flavel a couple of laps down after the technical problems that he had. So that probably put his heart rate up initially. But then having no one to race and being in a bit of clean tracks brought it back down since. Cairns the meat in the sandwich here for this moment. The way it's shaken out after that final pit stop feels pretty promising for Jordan Ross.
Yeah, it's looking steady for now at the front of the field. It's matters of, well, most laps hundreds, although on that last lap he picked up nearly 3/10 on Wayne. Actually, pardon me, there's the lap time start updating. It's actually, they're all dipping the 109s, and fastest driver was still Jordan Ross. The 10th gain back on Wayne Walker in that last lap. Unless it was traffic, they've now all lost about a second on what their PBs are in this race.
Yeah, once they got to that second pit stop, the new tyres had that magic sort of 2 or 3 laps in them, and then settle into the rhythm that we're familiar with as they stabilise at a temperature that's just a little bit higher than what's optimal for grip. It's the traffic for the race leader, Wayne Walker, that he's got ahead of him. And Flavel some laps down. Brad Doble, I think I spy, battling with Brian Minogue. Doble will be first to try to pull out of the way, which seems to pay dividends sometimes. So when Jordan Ross goes to lap who you were fighting, you try to stay close where possible. 10 laps to go.
Yep, so we should tick them off in the tune of around 12 minutes or so. As we see here, that Ross had picked up a couple of tenths on lap 69 and 70, but swung back the other way to nullify the lap 70 difference on lap 71. Although, good chance again here, traffic might just slow Wayne down the road. See some green in that comparison. Both two laps are recorded here for number 72 of 81.
So now Minogue pulls out of the way. Brad Doble's at speed. This is sort of the lap that he was hoping for. Towards turn 1, how wide's the racing line to think you can make a pass? Probably not quite wide enough. Minogue's livery taken on just a little bit of MSR, is that what I'm seeing?
Possibly. I don't quite have the eye for all the key details on this one tonight. but I'm feeling that there's enough similarity there.
The comparison is Reese DeGoey's livery, I think, which is what I think of normally as their standard one. And then just sort of the subtle differences for Minogue.
Screen pass for 18th in the meantime here. Sees Luke Orman unshackle himself from the bumper of Robert Trisdale. Turn 1.
He's either got to make a pit stop or has perhaps begun slightly frantically saving fuel.
Yeah, that's a decent roll. Not desperate enough to need the clutch, but he's definitely rolling it up the hill on turn 6.
Last lap a 9.9. It's similar to what the battling group ahead are doing. But Michael Stewart, Justin McLean, Stacey Boyd behind are quicker. And then just a couple of positions further up around the top 10, everyone's sort of in the 5s as well. Yeah, 10.8.
Starting to show signs of being a little trim on fuel there. As you said, this now means Michael Stewart is bearing down at a rate of knots.
Scott Mackay almost hit Dean Logsdale's rear bumper as well, so there will be a couple of things to watch, even if the top 3 are a little spread, a little holding station. Jordan Ross will take the championship lead if they finish as they are. This group might not finish as is. And they seem to have worked out their team order of Travis Hunt ahead of Jeff Thomas back there in 8th and 9th. This is where Mackay was strong. Taking so much curb there. Breaking in a big straight line. Not close enough this time. Trisdale went and found just a tiny bit more speed again, though. I feel like Michael Stewart's catching him, but not as quick as perhaps one outlying lap suggested.
It's a bit more of an anomaly for passing Trisdale than Trisdale starting to show signs of lifting, coasting into turn 6 and turn 1. A little bit here as they do another lap. They're back in the 109.8s for Trisdale. He's holding a rhythm. Even if a couple of tenths come out again here from Stewart.
Last lap wasn't great for McNamara. So he's only 1.5 seconds ahead of Poynton and lost a bit of time to him. It's consistent here, isn't it? Okay, now he finds a response after 3 laps in the 9.8, 9.9.
But he's still losing time. You're quite right to point this out. I mean, I think he's got just enough laps to hang on here. But if he'd lost half a tenth again, or half a second again, sorry, I think you're quite generally, the Poynton is dragging Logsdale and Mackay with him to possibly just threaten the bumper of the 951 for 4th place, but not quite going to get there in time to actually make an impact. Oh, that's clutch. That was a lot of clutch from McNamara.
Mark Poynton might, but would Dean Logsdale threaten Sean McNamara?
Are there team orders at 9.5 Sim Sports? I don't know. But there you go. That's a big sort of swing that we weren't thinking was going to come out here in this race. It's the poker face telling us now, sure. Not much.
Did get a little bit of that speed back. Might have just done sort of 5 laps of make it safe and then push a little harder in the final laps or when they eventually catch you.
False hope.
Christelle back in the 110s. Last lap for David Nash, a lot of time lost. Where did 7 seconds go for David Nash?
Some kind of excursion that involved him coming to a stop. This is what it was.
Rear locking, backwards, gravel. Lucky to not be beached on the high side of that curb. I suppose that would do it.
Unfortunately, that lovely Gary Rogers tribute's apparently down. Well, in 13th he's not down very far. It's just only moved slightly down from where he started tonight. Slightly indoors. Conclusion. Back live. McNamara still clutching into the corners, but the gap is holding steady to the point behind. So it would appear that fuel saving techniques are not hindering and harming his pace too much.
Matthew Brunson 15th from Damien Cairns, in 16th from Christian Smart in 17th, and Luke Allman in 18th. Quickest on the last lap of these drivers though was Brunt. Smart's got so much more speed through the left-hander than Damien Cairns. He's not going to have as much speed as he can get off the exit as well.
Turning in too early there for the final corner, proper corner. There was Smart on that occasion. Got really nice rotation and entry in turn 12, but actually just hooked it back too soon.
So confident in the fast corner, good under braking, exiting the slow corners, not positioning himself to have exactly the advantage he might like. Wayne Walker takes the white flag to begin the final lap of the race. 250 kilometres from Sandown with one safety car. Walker could be heading towards a win this season. McNamara and Jordan Ross have had a bit of a monopoly on him. Is Chris Dale out of fuel? He might be, or he's not, but cleverly by letting Wayne Walker go, he'll finish a lap down, and that might save him.
And that'll solve his fuel problems if he doesn't then get passed by Stacey Boyd.
For Wayne Walker, starting on 4th position on the second row of the grid in the wet conditions, a perfect standing start to lead the exit of turn 1, and he's commanded from there. He'll win the Dandenong 250 for RaceKraft V8 Vets at Sandown. Some nice points into his back pocket after a very difficult start to this season. Jordan Ross in 2nd place will go back to the lead of the championship while Scott Gamble joins him on the podium. Sean McNamara, who started this season with a bang, will now, from a couple of successive races, slip past and beyond the championship lead and back into 2nd place.
Nope. A late team exchange there between the GWM cars. I think them. Yeah, right at the end. They swapped spots.
Interesting for the championship as well. Those two guys have performed very well this season, featuring in the top 10 of the points. He's perhaps just going to go a lap down to this group as Brunt, Cairns, Smart and Ullman cross the line.
And there we are, your last two drivers on the lead lap, finishing up the race. Justin McLean and Marcus Shooter, 20 cars on the lead lap after 81 laps. We'll talk more about those race results here in just a moment.
It's one of the quickest laps we'll ever go to. The fastest lap of the race of just over a minute. Falling off the lead lap can happen quite easily. Wayne Walker takes the win from Jordan Ross and Scott Gamble on the podium. Sean McNamara in fourth. That top four, it's the real power drivers of V8 Vets in the last couple of seasons. Mark Point in fifth from Dean Logsdale in sixth. Scott Mackay, Jeff Thomas, Travis Hunt and pole sitter David Kirby. Michael Whiting 11th, Andrew Rushworth 12th, David Nash 13th, John Latham in 14th from Matt Brunt in 15th, Damien Cairns, Christian Smart, Luke Allman, that's group there, McLean and Stewart. And then Robert Crisdale, one lap down. Tactically, perhaps, even. Stacey Boyd, Brian Minogue, Brad Doble, Wayne Sanderson, Reese DeGoey, and Darren Goosey. 2 laps down, John Gallen, who says his pedal's disconnected. Dean Flavel, 3 laps down, and Hull Caesar, 17 laps down, is perhaps still 75% of the race distance. Yeah, as long as you're a lot more than 21 laps down, I think you're a classified finisher. So unfortunately, that means for Logan Barnett, Lorne McKee, Stephen Kennedy, Stewie Hall, Ray Smith, Christopher Burridge, Chad Lewis, and Greg Sharp, who was not able to start even, Sandown's not particularly kind to them.
No, unfortunately not. In fact, Chad Lewis, I feel we missed what took him out of the race early on like that. But we may have to chase that down at another point in this one, because it's time to chat with the drivers who came home at the top of the field. Scott Gamble's waiting for us, David, so we could do the 3-2-1 tonight. In which case, I'll leave it to you to bring him in and join us here for the first of our interviews.
Well, that was interesting weather for V8 Vets, Scott.
Going, guys. It was a little bit of a spanner in the works, the way the track dried during quali and got a couple of guys up there. So that was awesome of Curbs to get up there, get him on pole position, maybe his first ever. So yeah, really, really good for him.
It looked like by the time we got racing, though, that it sort of took away some of the overtaking opportunities. Stewie Hall, for example, could just sit on that racing line down towards turn 1, and try as they might, not many guys could get by him.
Yeah, you're 100% right there, David. It was very difficult. You had to wait, for the track to dry to be able to try and put a move on. I mean, there was an opportunity as you come out of Dandenong and head up the back as well. But again, if you get up the inside there and you get a little bit of wet on that tyre on slicks, you're a real risk of taking him out, and we didn't want to do that. Perhaps he might go about it differently next time, because it really did let Wayne to skip away, and it put the rest of the field, which was really interesting, would have been interesting for you guys as well, put us all on different strategies, to try and counter what was happening, what Wayne was doing, and what other drivers were doing around, so that we could still get towards the front come the last last stint, the last tyres. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. It would have been nice to get up there with Wayne and Jordan and Macca and, have a bit of a battle there. I think all of us had pretty much similar pace, especially if we had some draft with us.
And then what did you feel the tyres doing? Because obviously it seems like going to a new set really did have sort of some undercut potential, but then the traffic was even more volatile than usual, given that overtaking had become difficult.
Yeah, traffic's always a bit of an issue. I mean, it's a small track, small lap time. You're doing it under a minute 10 around here. So it's, traffic's always going to be like that. It's, but trying to navigate it, trying to come out and use those fresh tyres like you talked about, because the undercut was there if you could use them and get that fresh air. So yeah, it was definitely, that was part of my strategy, was trying to find where can I find 5 or 6 laps to use these tyres to really, make some gains. And, you might make 3-4 seconds there, but, and I suppose when that first safety car came out, I mean, there was only one, we were on 9-10 lap old tyres. So it was a real, do we pit? Do we not pit? And I decided to stay out, hoping that I might be able to gap these guys having a little bit of less fuel. But obviously, it didn't really work. They were flying as well, and we might get a 10th or 2 here, and that was it. So Wayne stayed there. He would have saved a heap of fuel, and he drove beautifully. And Jordan, that was a risky undercut what he done. So kudos to him. He made that work. That was really good.
Congratulations on the podium, and hopefully we'll see you next week, Scott.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We've got up there a couple of times now, so it's always a joy getting up here, having a chat with you guys. Thank you very much for your broadcast. Really appreciate it. Well done to Wayne. He's driving absolutely beautiful. And Jordan and Macca, unfortunate start for him, but geez, he recovered well. So, and well done to Scotty Mackay, our teammate. He's up in the top 10 again, P7. Well done, mate. Thank you.
Well, Dan, Jordan Ross finished second and takes the championship lead.
He sure does indeed, and we'll welcome him in here to the box now. And tricky conditions to start things off, as whilst by the end of it, it dried out. Jordan, most of the field chose to qualify on slicks tonight. Was there sort of did you have to wait till qualifying started to sort of know that was the right call, or did you have a feeling that was going to be the case before practicing tonight to start things off?
Yeah, just like a minute to go in practice, I chucked some dries on and just drove out of pit lane, and I went down in turn 1 and I thought, well, we've got to be on dries. But I made a meal of quali. I binned it on my 3rd lap and put it in the wall at the chicane. A bit annoyed with myself for that, but made for a really fun race. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was certainly interesting to watch. I mean, a little processional points there. You gave it a crack at turn 1, speaking of, though, during the race, and it was a fair swing. Both you and Scott trying to get past Stewie Hall there, but just never dried up in that first third of the race to really make a pass at turn 1, at least, be viable.
Yeah, poor Stewie, we both kept adoring him. But yeah, just got such a good run out of the final corner. I'm like, like the kid that's got the sticker and you got to stick it on something, you're just walking around the house trying to stick it on the fridge or whatever, and I was just like, got such a good run, and I'm like, I gotta have a crack, and tried to keep 2 wheels in the dry line and brake really, really early and really softly, but didn't work. So next few laps I kept trying to drive down on the wet side to try and dry it up a bit, so might have been able to have a crack a bit later, but it wasn't to be. I've got to apologise to Stewie, because I actually got into the back of him out of, I think, turn 5 or 4 onto the back straight, and didn't loop him, but come close to. So apologies to him for that one, but it wasn't a bad race after that.
Yeah, just on the sort of the passing real quick. At the end of the day, Strachey really helped you. I think looked like it helped you out there, but did the lack of ability to use spots like turn 1 that you would in the dry to pass mean you had to see if there was any other alternatives to passing around here? Because even though it did seem pretty limited, or was it a case of just having to wait until you had a little bit more confidence that there would be an opportunity at a place like turn 1 before you can start making moves?
In the dry, it's a mega hard place to pass normally. So it was probably no harder to pass. It's just that you had to be a bit more creative. You had to probably just try and put pressure on to try and get the person in front to be a little bit narrow and like just get a little bit offline and try and get them to make a mistake and get up beside them. That's what you probably had to try and do. But there was plenty of mistakes out there by myself and. But yeah, towards the end of the race, I got it together and made up a few spots after my dismal qualifying.
And regardless of the fact that qualifying made things a little more interesting for you tonight, Jordan, getting yourself up to second place does mean by our numbers, and they should match up pretty well with what's officially up for the series on the Sim Racer Hub as well. You now retake the championship lead this season after Sean McNamara's strong start, and you've had to come back to it with rounds 3, 4, 5 being wins, and now a second place for you here tonight.
Yeah, a long way to go. I think there's 4, 5 races or something left. So, we'll have a good battle. But, there's some guys like Scott and Wayne and other guys up there tonight that are really fast. So it should be good racing all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a good season so far. Look to see what the remaining 4 rounds can bring us. But there might be a 5th race in there because I'll talk more about next week when we go to Thruxton. For the first time I'll ever see a supercar at least race there, and similar characteristics maybe here, but I'm thinking more high speed, less stopping spots. That could be an interesting shake-up of situation. Yeah,
I don't even know that track. But yeah, we'll have a crack wherever we go. Just enjoy racing in vets. It's heaps of fun. Just turn up and race, and so it's done for you. Everything's done for you. So whatever the track is, we'll be right.
Thank you for joining us, Jordan. Before we do let you go, anyone you wanted to shout out and say thanks to here with your P2 tonight?
Mate, just you guys for turning up each week and putting on the show, and obviously the organisers of vets. Lots of work goes on behind the scenes, and all the competitors, very competitive, and heaps of people did a really good job tonight. So congrats, and obviously Wayne and Scotty as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jordan, and appreciate the chat with us there. It leaves us with one final driver on the podium to talk to here, David. It's the man who got himself the whole shot of a race start. I'll bring in Wayne Walker to speak with you here as our winner from Sandown for round 6 tonight.
Yeah, you go again at the drop of the green flag, didn't it, Wayne?
Yeah, I got a good start, but then I nearly binned it going up the outside of him, got onto the wet a little bit, but held it. And yeah, it was interesting race, long race, 81 laps around here.
Seemed like very early in the race, the dry line was just acting like a completely dry line. Were there any little puddles or anything that you just had to tippy toe?
I think they're up into, I think it's turn 4 onto the back straight in tight. Was still a fraction wet, but everywhere else, yeah, it was pretty much dry track from the start. But yeah, just one line, so no overtaking whatsoever.
Sounds good when you're the driver in first, then.
Yeah, for sure. It helped me get the lead, but then that was sort of brought back when the safety car came out. But I knew after that safety car that the ones that were right behind me hadn't taken on as much fuel, so I sort of knew in the second pit stop I'd still come out in the lead for that last stint. But I looking at my sort of telemetry, I sort of thought Jordan was going to be pretty close, and he sort of come out 5 seconds behind, and yeah, it was just trying to hold that gap till the end.
And with the big 250 Ks, what did you notice change about the racetrack?
Oh, it definitely got quicker as the race went on, and yeah, by the end it was pretty much dry, and you'd be able to overtake. But other than that, yeah, the track did get grippier, but not too much.
And is this your first win of the season after it didn't start particularly well?
Yeah, this is my first win of this season. Had a bit of a rough start to this season, but this is a good confidence boost.
Yeah, fantastic. We apparently head to Thruxton next time out. Is that a track you've got much experience with?
I don't even own it on iRacing yet. I've still got I think there's 3 tracks at the end of the season that I've got to buy still, and that's one of them. So I haven't even done a lap there yet.
I'm going to take a wild guess that you don't own Mexico City.
Mexico and Saxon Ring. It's the other one I don't own.
What do you think that'll do then for the racing when we go to some tracks that are less well-worn for V8 Vets? Because my goodness, I feel like I've seen us at Watkins Glen, at Bathurst, etc. many times, but that will be something a little bit new.
Yeah, I think the when we go to new tracks, it sort of evens the playing field a bit. Like no one really knows the track inside and out, so it sort of evens the playing field out. So it'd be good to see. The one that I'm looking forward to is the Saxon Ring. I like that track.
Well, congratulations once again, and getting things back on track this season of RaceKraft V8 Vets. Who do you want to shout out?
Everybody who helps run the league, all race control, you guys for the broadcast, like you do an amazing job every week. My team, Accelerate Sim Racing, and all my teammates for all their help as well. Want to congratulate Jordan and Scott on P2 and 3. All the other competitors as well, because without them it's not possible, and it's good to have such big fields to sort of race against. All of our sponsors, Abbey Timber, Primal Wheels, Box and Lock Narang, and Modern Deck. That's about it.
We'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
I think overall a pretty happy podium, and this is some provisionally tallied championship points.
It is indeed. Noting, of course, we can't add in the bonus point that Sean McNamara picked up for being on the Zoom wall tonight, nor the bonus points that drivers who did finish with 0 incident points would have acquired, although I can't actually see those. Oh, there they go. They've just accumulated now. Wayne Walker picks up 0x bonus. Is he the only one? Walker, Brunt, Jeff Thomas, the 3 drivers tonight who picked up 0x bonus. So there's that. No penalties for Jordan or Sean at this stage. So it's still a 2-point game. It's just flipped the other way from where it was before we kicked off tonight.
There we go. It's about who can take some race wins then in the remaining part of the season, and you'll see it all here on SimSpeed TV. I'm thinking vis-a-vis the old M1 used cars driver of the day.
Yes.
I am going to buck all forms of tradition and give it to a driver who lost positions from their grid spot. I think that was an awesome qualifying effort from David Kirby.
You know what? I'd have to say, to be able to nail the lap in very treacherous conditions is definitely a fair shout for used cars driver of the day tonight. Even though, as you can see here, David even was sort of around the top 5 at one point early on after that very first lap and ended up back in 10th place. Still a solid showing from him tonight that we haven't seen for a few weeks, if not this season on the whole. I think, yeah, that's certainly something still to commend, as you point out there. So I think that's a fair one to make a special exemption for.
Feel like a exemption. It just feels like we're highlighting a different part of the night than we often do when the conditions are at their most treacherous, least understandable. a few drivers like Stewie Hall and David Kirby stood strong and really surprised us and put themselves in a good position to try to score points on a racetrack that was then going to be difficult to pass. So it goes to David Kirby, and we say our thanks to everyone who supports V8 Vets. We were just on that page, and now we've scrolled away from it.
I'll get back to that in a second, but yes, I thought I'd just mention, do come back next week. Whilst that isn't Thruxton in the background, that is where we'll be heading back to the UK next Thursday night. It's going to be an interesting one. Faster Sandown, in some respects, is probably the simplest summation I have of the circuit. And arguably...
Pancake Sandown instead of paperclip Sandown.
Yeah, no, that's actually, that's an excellent way to describe it. Yeah, we'll keep rolling with those. And only concern is, I'd argue there's less overtaking or clear overtaking zones at Thruxton. But maybe we can be mildly surprised by these vets. I just think we probably need dry weather to make it work well. But that's in the hands of the admins, not us.
250 kilometers of Sandown is done, and in support of V8 Vets is RaceKraft Simulations, Logitech G, Nova Sim Sports, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Player One Sim Gear, LGC Images, M1 Used Cars, supporter of Driver of the Day, and SimSpeed. Thank you for joining us on SimSpeed TV. David Haynes with Daniel Yeaman with the Dandenong 250 of RaceKraft Simulations V8 Vets. Wayne Walker is the king of Springvale.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.